'cause you're the solid rock on which I stand. They're looking for my name in the sand. I know you got me engraved in the palm of your hand. I never doubted for a second that to you I'll come first and never second. But in moments like these, I reenact the end. It told me of the perfect keys back in Genesis. Standing at the altar of incense, blowing back to you the breath you blew through my nostrils. My heart yields, and the ways you touch that fulfills, your love that heals. No longer lift my eyes to the hills, but inside myself I found the river that stills my soul. Even through the darkness of the black hole, though the beat fails to go on, this is more than a song. You gave my heart a place sweeter than home.
The valleys are low, the mountains are high. You've made me strong enough to make it through.
Without any further ado, please help me welcome Miss Nada. Welcome, welcome. Please introduce yourself and correct my terrible pronunciation of your name with 1,000 apologies.
It is right. It's Nada.
Okay, I guess the first part was correct.
It is Nada Hausawi.
Oh, Hausawi. Oh, okay, all right.
Belong to Hausa. I'm
Hausa. All right. Oh, so you're Hausa. Hausa of...
yes.
Oh, all right.
Hausa.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Interesting. So, please just tell us a little bit about yourself before we start. Where you... Nothing too personal in case, we don't know if your government is happy about this discussion. so you can, since by the way, it is being recorded, so yeah. So just as general as possible. Don't give out your addresses and all these things, we don't want them to come find you. We still want to have, build a channel and have these kind of conversations in the future, Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Take us away.
My name is Nada.
Yes.
Saudi. Why I'm Saudi? I'm Nigerian.
Pardon? You said...
Because my ancestors migrated since long time ago to be in Mecca.
Oh.
In every Ottoman period. So when the Saudi came to build a new country, we became Saudi.
Ah.
But before, yes.
Which period did your parents migrate to Mecca?
Some time ago, since Ottoman.
Oh, since the Ottoman. Oh, that's very interesting.
Still African, yes.
Yeah.
All African in Mecca, in Jeddah, or everywhere.
Yeah.
The migrators, people, they know their roots, they know what the countries, they know the languages.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. Okay, all right. No, I have heard of many people from West Africa that have basically settled in that part of the world in Arabia, due to due to the pilgrimage. Oh, there's a community there. So there's a community there.
Big one. Yes.
Okay. So you guys are practicing your little isolation there, or what? Oh, okay. That's. I guess it's natural. Like when I was explaining earlier that my crew back in varsity was made up of guys from different countries, Angola, DRC, Zambia, and all that. So I had two crews. My other crew was people from, there's a province called Limpopo in South Africa. So they speak my language. So naturally we hung out due to that. So they were not really my main crew, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, it's always natural. As long as you guys do get along with other black people, then it's fine. Yeah. All right. So the first question that I would like to ask you, and I think when I'm done with the questions, we'll open the floor for everybody else, perhaps they might have questions or comments for you and for me or whatever. Yeah. So the first question, yeah, there's a gentleman called Mustafa Hefni. He's an Egyptian, a black man from Egypt. He migrated to the United States at one point. So he was explaining how they were not allowing him to associate himself with black people in the United States. We're telling him that he's white. You can clearly see he's got a you can clearly see the man has an afro. But the guy is black. Like he looks like Richard Pryor. He has this afro that is a raw afro. You know?
I don't think they believe they are white.
Really? Okay. All right. I guess everybody's trying to associate with anything that is considered to be of high value. Yeah. So the gentleman, I guess at the time when he was breaking down the news or the whole thing, I think he was already sorted in terms of his green card. He didn't care if they would take it away from him. So he explained the whole thing, and he said he wanted to identify as black because he's black. And so what he said is, in the Arab world, we identify as Arab first, and then our race second, as black or white. So what I want to find out is this the case for both Caucasians and black people in Saudi Arabia? All right. Okay.
Yes.
Tell us more.
They never accept us as Arab.
Okay.
They accept us. Maybe they accept, not maybe, for sure. They accept Persian, Central Asian people, Indian, Turk, Kurds, whatever, because they are white. Even though they are of non-Arab root.
Yeah.
But they reject us because we are black. They will keep tell us you are Khan, or you are slave, you are Takruni, which means African, with humiliation way. This is in all Arab countries, including Egypt. I tell you, if you make a research to detect the Egyptian movies since the beginning up to now, you will find that very ugly, humiliated figure for the black people, especially Nubian.
Oh, the movies that they make in Egypt.
Yes, they never respect us. Never, ever.
Yeah, that was my suspicion. So the reason why this question is important is because, we've had within the conscious community, the interactions that we have on social media. I've had a few debates with people who say now that Arab is actually, you have black Arabs and whatnot. And
they say that.
Pardon?
They said it, but they do not live it. Listen. Countries in Arab countries will not add this in their constitutions. They will not say that these black people are not belong to us. Whenever. But it lives in culture and inheritance and the way they behave with us. You can see it, it's clear.
Oh, okay, so it's more like the United States now, unlike in South Africa during apartheid, they told us directly, that you guys, they wrote it down in law. So in the Arab world, it was different. They were hiding it. Yeah.
Yes, they hide it. Yes, they cannot make it clear because in the Holy Quran, it is not allowed. So they want to make themselves like religious.
Yes.
And all people are equal.
Yeah.
But when you trade them, you will see everything is clear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it's a very. This is a very important conversation indeed. And also, a lot of the people from this side of the world have been indoctrinated to think of Arabs as our cousins or brothers, or most black people this side of the world, and even in the Western Hemisphere, when they think of Europeans, they're like, okay, they're the worst. And then Arabs are like, okay, we can. And the reason for that is the black politicians, when they were when they started the movement, the Arabs deceived them, or they pretended to wanna collaborate with them against the white man. But obviously, the reason, according to me, based on history, the Arabs were here in Africa. They invaded Africa first, and it's only common sense. If I invade a place first, I mean, Arabs came. They even got all the way to Southern Africa, but they could not. They could not establish a settlement, so they ended up giving up and just established themselves in North Africa, because there's been quite a lot of resistance. So a lot of people then think, oh well, Arabs hate white people. We can all get along. But what Arabs want to do is they want to use us to get rid of white power in Africa, so that they can be the powers that be. I mean, it's not deep. If you look at North Africa, you can already see the model. Wherever you see black people and Arabs living together in one country, it just look at what you already have, and you know what exactly it's going to look like. It's not rocket science. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a discussion. It's East meets, I don't know what Africa is called, if there's East and there's West. Central. We are anyway in the center. East meets center, or East meets the motherland. So the discussion is between, we're having the discussion with our sister here from Saudi Arabia, Miss Nada. So question number 2, for me, there's a book that I read by an African scholar from the United States. Her name is Drusilla Danji Houston. So in the text, she says the wonderful Ethiopians of the ancient Kushite Empire states Arabia was originally settled by 2 distinct races: an earlier Kushite Ethiopian race and a later Semitic Arabian. So, to your knowledge, are there any black people in Saudi Arabia that actually claim to be natives or have an oral history of some kind, where they actually say that we were here before these Arabs, or anything of that sort?
Okay. Yeah. We are in this area 3 types of black. I will tell you first about the citizen.
Yeah.
There is no black citizen who claim Arabness of this root. Never.
Okay.
Because we know our root.
All right.
And those who are deny and insult him, the people who say we are Arab, they will look at them in very bad way, and they said, no, you are African, you are Takruni, you are Abd, which means slave.
Please spell that. Abd.
Abd, yes, it means slave.
It's A, B, or A, P.
A-B-B-D.
Oh.
Abd, it means slave. Khal, it means slave too.
Khal, how do you spell Khal?
Khal.
A G?
Okay. A-H-A-L.
Oh, okay. All right. It also means slave.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
And then the third word you mentioned?
Khan Abtakruni.
Oh, so the third word is Abtakruni.
Takruni. Takruni, it means from Takrur country means African, but with bad way. They insult you when they say it.
How do you spell that word?
T-A-K.
A-K.
R.
R.
Yes. W.
W.
O.
O.
N-Y.
N-Y. The crony.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
And directly, what does it mean?
What?
Directly, what does it mean? The direct translation.
Listen.
Yeah.
It is the root. It's the Takrur. Takrur. It's a country of black people in West Sudan.
Oh, okay.
In Africa.
Yeah.
But now they use it not to return you to your country. They mean you are slave, you are black, you are something bad. Yes.
Oh, all right.
It's a very bad word. It's very, very bad. If they say it to you, that means they insult you.
Yeah, that's.
Takruri, all these three are very bad words.
Okay.
To insult people.
Yeah, I must say I'm not surprised. And one of the reasons when I was in Pakistan, I wanted to speak to a black person. The Pakistanis, they call them Balochi. So when they told them they are Balochi, in my head I was thinking, I wonder if it's a positive word. Do these people embrace the word, or is it more of an insult? But I guess I'll find an answer one day when I meet someone.
It's bad. Asians hate us.
Yeah.
Black people. They will never say anything good to us. No.
Yeah.
I think it's bad.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And a lot of one of the misconception is that basically people only associate racism with Europeans, but what they fail to understand is that when you look back in history, racism actually came from Asia. The Europeans had no idea what black people are. I think the oldest account of associating black with something negative that I found during my diggings, I actually stumbled into it. I wasn't looking for that exactly. I was looking for something else, and I found that. And it says it's in the Talmud, which was written about 500 AD. So, and it's got a poetic association of black with ugly and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah, that's why I would say I'm not quite surprised. All right. So the third question that I want to ask you is, according to the internet, there's about 3.5 million black people in Saudi Arabia, which is about 10%. So I wanted to get an understanding of what is considered black, because in South Africa, where I come from or reside, if you have a child with a white woman, the child is no longer black. The child is now, they call them colored. They created a middle race. But then when you go to the United States, it's a whole different thing. One drop of black, you black, that kind of thing. So in Arabia, what is the case? What happens if when a black person and an Arab have a child? What is that child called? Are they still black, or they have a different designation?
It didn't. If the father from Arab,
Yeah.
he will still Arab. If the father, yes. Because Arab only accepts you if the father is from them.
Okay, all right.
By this way, they will say this is from us.
Okay.
Yes. But even they will
They will
say
still,
his
yeah.
mother is black.
Yeah.
His lower than us, something like this. But he's still Arab because the father.
Yeah. Now, that is also that I'm also aware of. There is an Arabic, or there's a man called Antara whose mother was actually from Ethiopia, and his father was Arab. And this man was a great warrior, a great poet.
Yes, Ankara.
Yes, yeah,
Ankara.
you definitely. So
Yes.
when I read about his story a few years ago, you could see that he grew up trying to please his father and try and earn his father's name, but with all the
Yes.
with all his Superman,
Yes.
superhero, with all
Yes,
his, it still didn't. Yeah. So yeah, so that definitely
They
makes
will
sense.
accept him as one of them, but with disadvantages. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So, but also if your father is black and your mother is Arabic, do you get that a lot
You're still
though?
black. No, you're still black.
Or do you get that a lot though, where you get a black man with an Arabic woman? Is it common?
Listen, this
Yeah.
is no.
Hmm.
I tell you.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, in tribes, they will never accept to marry their daughter with a black man. Never.
Yes.
Don't think about it. But in other Arab countries where they are poor, and if you are black Saudi, they will agree.
Or
For
if they are poor.
Syria, Lebanon, yes, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, Algeria, Morocco, all of them, they will accept you to marry their girl because you have money.
Or if you have money.
Yes,
Oh,
because you
okay.
are Saudi and rich, so they will accept.
Ah.
You will, your life very, very bad. Should make you always look. I accept you, even I am white and you are black. My family better than yours, and a lot of trouble will happen. It happened in my family too.
Oh, where one of your males married a white woman.
Yes, Maria. Yeah.
Okay. And how did that go?
In general, their life very, very bad. It works because always she's better.
Okay. So the children
My
are.
daddy married.
Pardon?
Children will love their fathers.
Oh yeah. So you go
But
by your father's.
Yes, but when they want to get married, the mother will not agree to marry with a black girl. She will search for them again.
Oh, really? Okay.
My uncle, he's married with a white woman, and all his children married with a white girl. Mother doesn't accept. Mother doesn't accept. Even once she said to me, I want you to help me to find a bride for my son. I said, okay, my relative here. She said, no, I don't want black. Okay, we are all black, even your husband. She said, no, not for my son.
It's amazing. It's. I think it's a very interesting phenomenon when when a woman doesn't is married to a man but doesn't want her sons to marry. Okay, that's
We
that's
have
quite funny.
ugly nose, ugly lips, ugly hair, so they don't want us. And our skin is dark. They don't want it handed to their grandchildren. They don't want. All of them are unhappy. All men married with white women in this society, African society in my country. All of them are not happy.
Oh, all of them are?
I'm not happy with them because the white woman led them very bad. Always she will keep them. Even my brother, his wife, she's white.
Yeah.
And now they are in the way to divorce because after 10 years of marriage, with it's ugly marriage with 2 children, and now he is looking for a black woman to marry.
Wow. Okay. All right. It's actually very interesting because I've even there is one space that I held before where we actually discussed. No, it was actually titled "Is Love Colorblind?" And there were people here basically trying to fight and say, well, doesn't matter and all that. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter to black people, but everybody else falls in love according to what benefits their race. It's only black people who can't choose who to love, but everybody else does, you know. So I mean, when we're talking in a more general way, also generally when white women get with, even in the United States when they get with, or even in South Africa when they get with a black man, he has to be above the average white man for him to qualify.
They believe that this is in their hearts, in their beliefs.
Exactly.
They are better than us. Yes.
Yeah.
Cannot
No.
change it.
Yeah.
Yes, and they will never accept it.
That's true. And then you mentioned you mentioned the three different names. So the other name that I wanted to find out if it's a positive or a negative is Zanj. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly.
Zonj.
Yeah,
Zonj.
Zanj.
Zonj.
Yeah, Zanj.
This is for what I can say about it. You know when you say Caucasian?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. This is Caucasian for white, Zonj for black. For
Okay.
race.
Oh, so it's not negative.
We don't like it, but it is not negative. It's race.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Okay. Now I was just being suspicious, I guess. Yeah. So, and then how do you pronounce? Okay, you let me know if I'm pronouncing it properly. Kariji. Yeah, Karijite. Or is it Khariji?
Khariji?
Kharijite. It's basically the whole thing of an enslaved African, for example, can be promoted to a position of a caliph.
Khalif?
Yeah, like an enslaved African can you were captured and you were slaves, and then you can be raised to a high position like a caliphate or something. Caliphate, or I don't know. How you guys pronounce it? Caliphate, or the king or something.
Khalifa?
Caliphate.
Khalifa.
Caliphate. Basically, how do you spell it? It's CALIPH.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Say it again.
CALIPH.
CALIPH. Yes.
ATE. Yeah. Like a ruler.
Yes, Al-Khilafa.
Oh, it's a Khalifa.
Khilafa.
Oh, Khalifa.
This is it is an Islamic
ruler, yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Something like empire.
Oh, okay. So apparently there is a system called Kharijite which allows
Khilafa.
it allows for example, a black person was a slave to become a Khalifa.
It happened only one time.
Okay.
In Egypt.
Okay.
The name is let me remember. Give me some time. I'm trying to find the name. It happened one time in Egypt.
Okay.
His name is
Okay. All right. Maybe if you remember. Okay.
Khalifa.
Oh, you checking it up? Okay.
Yes, Khalifa. I wanna get the name.
Oh, okay.
They hate him. His name is trying to find his name.
Okay. All right. Maybe when you do find it, we can come back to. It. Yeah. All right.
Yes, Kafur al-Akhshidi. Abu al-Mis Kafur al-Akhshidi. He was a slave, but he became Khalifa.
Okay.
The Egyptians, up to this day, they hate his period, even he was a very good man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Mm.
They said because he a slave, and we are free country, we don't like slave to rule us. But if you read the history of Egypt, you will read something about the we call it then al-Mamalik, which means slaves too. But they were from Central Asia. They were white, Turkestan, Afghanistan, like these areas.
Yeah.
So they accept the white slave to rule them,
Yeah.
but they will keep rejecting the black one. Even he was good and treated them very good. They managed with equality, did everything to them, but they still hate them because one reason he is black.
Yeah.
He was black. His
Okay.
name is Kafur al-Ikhshidi.
Yeah.
Kafur al-Ikhshidi. Maybe you need to read about him.
Oh, how do you spell his name? K-A-F?
Yes.
Is K-A-F?
Kafur.
Or U-R?
Kafur.
Or U-R?
Yes.
Okay.
Kafur
Surname?
al-Ikhshidi. He was from Ethiopia. Okay?
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
Ethiopian people will tell you about him.
Interesting.
Kafur al-Ikhshidi. Yes.
Al-Ikhshidi.
Al-Ikhshidi, yes. He was from Ethiopia.
Okay, I'll get the spellings for me later. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I send it to my message.
Yeah. And so the other very interesting thing that I found, there is a man that lived, I think, in the 8th century. His name was Al-Jahiz. So he wrote a book a very long time ago, and apparently the title of the book was changed. The one that I have, the copy that I have, is called The Book of the Glory of the Black Race. So, and apparently the original title is The Superiority of the Black Race over the White Race. So for me, obviously, that tells me that there was already a problem a long time ago, and the brother wrote a book in response to the dehumanization of black people, trying to make them feel as if they're inferior. And in fact, while I was reading the book, I'm not finished with the book. There's a part where in the book there's a white poet who made a remark about one of the black poets. Who he was actually wearing a white robe. So he says he actually remarked about him and said he looks like the penis of a donkey wrapped in a white paper. And that this is very old. This is back then. And his response was, and so we are nobler than the Kulaib. Okay, I don't know if I'm probably Kulaib, yeah. Because of our maternal uncles. You, however, are viler than them under the same report. So it looks like they, I don't know why they said maternal uncles. Perhaps they had white fathers. I don't know. Yeah, but so my question now is, what is the general state of like black consciousness among black people in Saudi Arabia, and do most black people feel like they belong to the global African family, or do they feel like they are just different people?
Black people in Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Okay. I tell you. Arab in Saudi Arabia are divided into three.
Okay.
Three, not one.
Yeah.
First one, citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
The citizens, those are negretos first, like us, like me.
Oh, negretos.
Yes, migrations. Their roots, their ancestors came from Africa, and they know where they came from.
Okay.
Mm.
And they are called negre. Did you say negretos?
No,
Oh.
no. They call them citizens,
Oh,
but they
okay.
call us takruni.
Ta-
Okay.
oh,
This is
the
what
word,
they call us.
that word that you mentioned earlier, takroni.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Takruni.
All right. Okay.
Because we know our roots,
Mhm.
where we come from.
Yeah.
Okay. So my category.
Oh, okay.
We know where we came from.
Mm.
Yes. We know our languages. We are not slaves.
Oh, you
The
guys
second,
speak
yes, we
still
know.
speak your African
We know we
languages.
are. Yes, my mother, she speak, my grandfather speak, my mother of my grandfather, all of them, they know the language. I can understand Hausa, but maybe
Okay.
I find difficulty to pronounce some words like this, but I can understand it.
Oh, all right.
Now,
That's interesting.
yes. But
Mm.
yes, the new generation, maybe they do not, because the mothers are Arab, some of them, the mothers are Arab, so they do not speak with them Hausa.
Okay.
But in Mecca, all our relatives there, all of them, they speak Hausa till now.
Wow. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I'm proud of your people. I'm very proud of them. That's that. You guys should get a trophy for that. I mean, you have.
That's why, because we know where we are from.
I mean, you have people in the you have people in the continent of Africa that will, like my neighbors in Mozambique, and the person will tell you they only speak Portuguese. You know, like, what is your ethnicity? I'm Portuguese. Yeah. Oh, okay. You were telling us about the different groups before I interrupted.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I will tell you now about the category of enslaved who have completely stripped them to belonging to the continent, and they are in a state of severe denial. They say we are not African, even they are very black,
Mm-hmm.
with huge lips and nose,
Mm-hmm.
and the same of our heads.
Yeah.
They say no, we are not African, we are Arab. Those enslaved people, and they are a state of, as I told you, severe denial, even though they call them slaves and do not accept to marry them and consider them as a social inferior degree. They do not really respect them. But they lost their identity because they do not know where they come from.
Oh, these are
Sometimes
people.
they call them babies, so they don't know anything about their roots.
Oh, these are the people that were taken as slaves.
Yes, they
Oh,
don't know
okay.
anything.
Mm,
They
okay.
are very poor.
Well,
They
that's,
are very, very poor. They are not Arab. Arab will never accept them. They will keep them. They are Arab.
yeah.
They are from Africa,
Uh-huh.
and for them, they don't know anything about Africa. So they said we are Arab,
Oh, okay.
and they know they call them slave.
They call them?
Abid.
Oh,
Abid.
okay.
Is the plural. The single is Abd. Abd for one person.
Oh, and
And
Abid for
Abid,
two.
yes, for group. Abid, yes. They call them Abid. And they
Mm.
suffer. They are really suffer because they don't know where they came from.
Mm. Wow.
The third, those came to Umrah. You know Umrah?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Visit Mecca for worshiping.
Oh, in Mecca.
They come to Mecca for worship, or something like this, to visit Kaaba.
Yeah.
And then they refuse to return back to their country. They want to stay in Saudi Arabia because they prefer to stay. It's a rich country. They can live better than they're living there in Africa.
Mm,
And
yeah.
those usually they treat them very bad because most of them they don't have a green card to stay and
Mm.
has no work to do.
Hmm.
So everybody hates them in the country and treat them very bad. But they resist to return back to their country. Even I tried to talk with a lot of them. I said, you are poor here and poor there.
Yeah.
At least there you will live with your dignity. Here you have it. But they still say, at least people can give us some money.
Wow.
No, this case, those very poor people, and they need to, from their countries, to make something to educate them,
Yeah, yeah.
to return back to their country, to live with dignity. Dignity is the most important thing for the person.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, what you were explaining now just took me to. It's not unique to Saudi Arabia. This is something a lot of African people that are very religious fanatics a lot. So when the people that call themselves Israelites or black people that say we are the Israelites, a lot of them have moved to Israel and they are also treated like that. They are treated like outsiders.
Yes, yes. Same Arab, same Asian.
Same, yeah. That is true.
All the world hate us. There's no reason to hate us. Just because we are different and we are the root of this humanity, all the world.
Yeah. I'll tell you why they hate us.
Why?
They it's,
Never occupy their country.
it's not even actually hate. It's more like the thing is have you ever gone into a place as a woman and you're looking extra fly, and then for no reason, some women over there they just saw you, they didn't like you from the get go. They just hated you because they just feel your energy is suppressing them because of you're reminding them that they
Right.
they feel
And everything is
inferior. Yeah.
I agree.
Because the thing about Africans we have not fully realized or fully become self-aware of what we actually have or what we are in the position in the universe to actually understand why people are intimidated by us. Because just if you look at poor, there's a big difference when I look around Africa. When you look at a poor white person and a poor black person, there is a huge difference. If you come to South Africa, poor black people don't look beat up and all that. They have a lot of dignity. They even people without houses that use what do they call them, corrugated steel roofs. They use that to build houses. When you go inside or from outside, you can see this is a shack, But when you go inside, they have furniture. It looks proper, well groomed, and then when you look at white people when they're poor, they look beat down and all that. But black people just keep their head up, There's just something about it, and will always intimidate white people, and that's just if you add our history of greatness, that even makes it worse. So besides your energy and your melanin power that you might not be aware of as you walk down the aisle and they just see the way you walk and they're like, who does she think she is? Why is she walking like that, So when we actually come to understand why that they actually do not really hate us, because if you think about it, you stay away from things you hate, right? Because nobody's gonna say, you know what, I hate Saudi Arabia, so I'm gonna move there. It doesn't make sense. So if they hated us really, they would not have come to Africa, and they would not come to Africa and settle and stay, and also come to Africa and take people to their country. They need us. So Yeah. So a lot of us don't actually understand. We actually think they hate us, and it becomes tricky. So when a white person is nice to you, then you think, this one is better. But what we fail to understand is that even the one that wants to befriend you is just as intimidated by you, and they will not pick your survival over theirs. Hence, I say, if you have a mother who has a black husband and doesn't want her sons to marry a black woman, you get to really understand that it's more than just about, it's actually not about hating the people. They are afraid of us. They know that we put the pyramids in Egypt, we put the Stonehenge in Europe, we put there's what we call in South Africa Inzalwelang is the oldest stone calendar. They know we put all these things all around the planet. So they know there's something about us.
Even we evaluate their parents.
You know.
This is what the anthropologists said it, and the genealogists said it too. We developed their parents.
Yeah.
They were very dumb.
Well, that's unfortunately what you're saying is not an insult. It's actually true. So
It's true.
it is. Some people might think it's an insult, but
Scientific fact.
exactly. You just put a white child and a black child, play some music, and the rest is history. You'll just see how the other one moves to the beat and how the other one moves to the beat. It's the mystery of our blackness, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So
humanity, we are the roots.
yeah, exactly.
We are the of humanity.
Absolutely. And when you mentioned that the enslaved people or the descendants of those who were enslaved in Saudi Arabia do not consider themselves African. I saw some years back when I was watching some documentaries and whatnot, and there was in East Africa. It looks like this issue exists where you have specifically there was an old man, a black old man. You can see he's black. It's just his skin color. He's just light skinned. He's black. If he was in South Africa, people would talk to him in one of the local languages. So the interviewer asked him, because he says that this guy is really proud. He says, okay, he descended from the prophet, and he's like, okay, I can see you're very proud of you. So you could see there's something there. Let me pull it. Let me open this thing up and see what's actually in there. So he's like, you're very proud of your Arabic roots. Do you have any African ancestry? And he laughed. He's like, no, they don't have any African ancestry. And the young man that was translating, because he would respond in Arabic, but he understood the English interviewer. And the guy started explaining the whole concubine thing where Arabs would take African women as concubines and all that. And then the guy asked him, why did they take them? And he's like, sometimes getting married is expensive and African women were cheap. He used words like that.
Yes,
like, wow.
Yes, they said it. They said it very bad. Yes, I know they said it. You are cheap.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yes, they said it.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I think people that think that love is not blind, I think they need to come and understand these dynamics and actually
This
realize.
area doesn't believe in love. This
Oh
area.
yeah, of course.
No, they don't know what meaning of love.
Yeah.
It's all about sex and desire, something like this.
Yeah. I think it's probably I would say it's the same even this side and even in Europe and in America and then because it's the whole thing of love came with the movies and all these romantic stories, but the way people live and treat each other really is not really love. I mean, you can see the divorce rate, the dating the dating scene is the worst place to be. People are frustrated, you know. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so the next question. Okay, this one was about Africans that's or black people that say they're not African, but yeah, we've already addressed this one. So you mentioned that you guys still have your languages. So what are some of the cultural practices and customs from Africa that you guys still have and are able to practice, or are there some of them that are not allowed? Do you have to do some of them in secret? Because in South Africa during the colonial era, when Christianity was forced upon us, a lot of the Africans here would put their cultural, they would pretend to be like a real Christian and go to church, and then behind the scenes in the church they would do their traditional rituals. So that today became a new form of Christianity where now it's practiced openly. So they have a mixture of the Bible and the African customs. Yeah. So do you guys still have some of the cultural practices from Africa that you still continue practicing, or you're not allowed, or is there anything you have to do in secret? What's the state there?
So we don't have something to do in secret, but if they want to do in secret, nobody can touch them.
Yeah.
Yes. Listen, we have what I tell you, dance and singing, all are from Africa. But Arab now they say it's their heritage, but it is not. It's Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Mecca, in Riyadh, in many cities, they talk our heritage and use it as it is from their ancestors, but it is not. About the religion, in Saudi Arabia there are different religions. It's Islam, yes, but there is different way to practice.
Okay.
So there is Sufi, there is Shia, there is Ismailiyah, there is all of them. They accept them. During this period, they accept all. And before King Abdulaziz, they accept everything. Do whatever you want to do. My grandmother, she told me.
This is before?
For example,
before what?
yes, before King Abdulaziz. Because the Saudi Arabia established by King Abdulaziz. Before it was Ottoman.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So during the Ottoman era, they do whatever they want to do.
No,
They practice whatever they want to practice. But during the King Abdulaziz era and King Faisal after, they became very, very strict with people. They used to let them do anything they want, to practice whatever religion they want, how to worship. They said you must be like a Wahhabi. It's a kind of worship, according to someone, his name Abdul Wahab. So all people must follow this man.
Okay.
But people refuse.
Is it a form of Islam, or is it a different religion altogether?
Well, I think it's related to Islam.
Oh, it's related to Islam. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Now I see. So, you guys managed to preserve your language. You guys still speak Hausa. Are there any customs that you guys still practice from back home today, or have those been forgotten? Oh, your mic has been muted. Okay. I don't know if there is a network problem, but yeah. So yes, ladies and gents, we are having a conversation with Nada from Saudi Arabia. Hi, you're back. You. I thought you ran off or something.
Also, about Hajj, you know Hajj, annual visiting to Mecca.
Okay, yeah.
This is make us always connect to Africa because African people every year they come and return back to the Nigeria, so we can connect our people. We cannot benefit from them.
Oh,
We talk with them also. We eat with them. The African food. Yes, we buy some clothes from them, some antique. So we are always in touch with them. Especially they are our people, you know.
yeah.
Especially those educated people.
Yeah.
You can talk with them easily.
Okay, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So they.
Whatever you want to ask about.
Oh, so you guys have that
This
continuous.
is only between African with African, Indian with Indian.
Okay, so it's like a family reunion.
Yes. So in Saudi Arabia, they will not forbid you to worship as you want, but don't do it in public. Do it in your society.
Oh, what can't you do in public? Understand?
You cannot worship. If you want, for example, to worship in special way,
Yes.
which is not accepted by the government, you
Yes.
can do it. You can
Oh,
isolate
in
yourself,
your own
like
private.
in your society.
Oh, yes.
It's in your society. Isolate
Okay.
your people and do whatever you want to do.
Oh, no, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean. No, that is something I'm a bit aware of. I think my visits to Pakistan has sort of given me because it's an Islamic country as well. So what they told me there is they do have Christians and I think and some people that practice Hinduism. But I know they hate Hindus there and whatnot. The way they always talk about Indians.
Yes,
So
exactly. For example, here in Saudi, they hate Shia, but they let them practice their religion. They worship as they want.
Shia.
They hate Shia, yes, Iranian.
Oh, are they Iranian?
Yes. There are a lot of Shia in Saudi Arabia. They are Shia.
Oh, the Arab Shia.
In east of Saudi Arabia. There is some kind of Shia, they call them Ismailiya. They were in the south, beside Yemen border. And they have their own religion, their own practice. Nobody have them. Even the government let them do whatever want to do.
Oh, okay.
So even us, the black people, if they have any something want to do in private, nobody will bother them. They will let them do what they want to do. Just don't make it in public.
Oh yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah, because when they told me in Pakistan that they have Hindus and Christians, but obviously they could not do it in public. Yeah, so that's
Because people will be angry and will fight together and make a lot of problems. They will take care of each other.
Yeah.
So for safety, they said do whatever you want to do, just make it in private for safety, yes, for your safety and the society safety too.
Okay, all right. I guess when you are in someone's house, you must do what they say.
Sometimes they invite us, those people from South Sudan, they have their own practice. When we were kids, we used to go to see them.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They practice there, yes.
All right, interesting. So there is in the 9th century in Iraq, there was a group of Africans that actually went on a serious revolution.
Yes, still now there.
Yeah.
Still now in Iraq, there is black people. And
and
they
then
from them.
yes,
Iraq down to me.
Yeah, there's even they do what? The last part?
Right. They write to me about them.
Oh, they write to you.
From Arab there, yes.
Oh, all right. Are they like your friends or are you a diplomat?
Yes, some. They're my friends.
All right.
We are black too. We have the same problem everywhere.
No, true. That's what I think a lot of people, because African politicians have polluted the word Pan-Africanism, and it's easier for a lot of people not to even understand it because most black people have never seen black people collaborating. So you'll hear people say, "Go help yourself before you help." They use the wrong words when Pan-Africanism is not about helping, because they're used to getting help, aid
We should
from
cooperate
from
together. We should cooperate.
exactly. It's a matter of whatever you are doing, uh, collaborate, because whatever you are doing, you have to do it with other people. So so the only thing we're saying is don't change what you're doing. Do what you're doing, but look for African people, look for black people
Yeah.
to do that with
I agree with that.
and build a
I agree
network.
with
Exactly. So that's what people miss. They think it's a help. It's an aid program. Yeah. So the Sanja Rebellion, the Zanj Rebellion.
the race of
Is it?
black people, yes.
Yes. Is it?
The revolution of the race of black people in Iraq, it happened during the Abbasid state
Yeah.
against oppression and injustice.
Mm.
It's similar to the Zinjar. You know Zinjar? Zanzibar would say in Arabic.
Oh no.
Zanzibar, it's a country. Zinjar, I think it's English or what? Zanzibar, we say.
So how do you spell it?
Let me find it in English. Zanzibar, it's a country
Okay.
in the east of Zanzibar.
Oh, Zanzibar. Okay, now I'm with you now. No. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm looking for
They
my.
look the same. They look the same as Paris Oman people. People from Oman, Arab,
Oh, yeah.
Sultan, yes, they look the same. And they push them out.
Yeah.
In
That's true.
Arabic.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, okay. No, my mind was looking for a place in Saudi Arabia, somewhere in Saudi Arabia.
No, it's close to Saudi Arabia. You know, Oman.
Yeah.
Oman, it's the south of Saudi Arabia. It's one island,
Oh,
but
okay.
divided politically to some many countries. Oman, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Dubai, but all the same.
Oh, okay.
All
So,
Arab.
so most people know about this rebellion, or do you just know? Do you know it because you're?
Arab hate it. Arab hate it.
Yeah.
They said, why they did this to us?
No.
They are very angry from them.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing revolution because I think whoever doesn't know about it, you can check out my YouTube channel. I posted an 11-minute video, just a short video on the Sanja Rebellion. It's amazing how these guys went and took over the whole city. Yeah. It's almost close to the Haitian Revolution. The difference, the Haitians took the whole country, the whole island. Yeah, so it's.
When they reminded all of them, they said, why don't black people do this to us? Why they angry from us?
Oh, okay. So.
And they start blaming the black people. Really? This is how they say it, how they keep telling to the generations.
Yeah.
Listen, they blame the black people.
Oh.
Even in Zanzibar, the Zanzibarian, the black people there,
Yeah.
they believe they are good. What happened if we enslaved you? Sure. They want us to accept it.
Oh wait, they believe that black people in Zanzibar are good or not good?
No, they believe they are not good. Why they rebel?
Oh, because they revolted. Yeah.
They want us just to obey and to accept to be slave for them and to make their work believe we are inferior than them. This is
Yeah.
what they believe. They believe they are better. And they feel it's very strange if black people say we are the same, we are human. No, they
Yeah.
will not accept it. We look at you very strange way. Why you say this?
Yeah.
We are Arab.
Yeah.
You are black.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel I think black people should stop saying that those kind of things. We are all human.
No, yes,
Uh,
this is wrong.
they
Yes, this is wrong.
because we are not the ones who said some people are not.
Yes.
So it's not our place to be saying, yeah,
And
there is only one
I
race.
said this to my friends many times. I said you
Yeah.
have no problem with your humanity.
Yeah.
We believe you are human. You are the those who have this problem to us.
Yeah.
But we are not.
Exactly. You know, there's a in South Africa there is a politician. Her name is Helen Zille. She's one of the big racist politicians in the country, and she said something about colonialism benefited us and all that, and it became big news and everything. I was still, yeah, I was not a, I had a Twitter account, but I was not yet active, so because I was not, I was still trying to see how things happen on Twitter. I was more used to Facebook, so. When she said that, I decided I'm gonna jump in. So there's one part where she actually responded to me when she was. I asked her, I'm like, okay, let me leave the rest of the continent. Just in South Africa alone, we've got a civilization dating back to the 10th century AD, where there was a practice of gold metallurgy. So I asked her, so your ancestors, please tell me at this time, at 10th century AD, what were your ancestors doing? You know what she said to me? She said, all our ancestors are from South Africa. So now she switched. So now she switched gears.
Because this is the truth. This is scientific fact.
You know,
All people are from our continent.
exactly. But in this exactly. But in this case, I am not the one who told her. I decided to play her game, and when her game, she lost in her game, she decided to move to science. I'm like, oh, really now? Okay, welcome back home. Yeah, quite ridiculous. Yeah. All right. So the next question that I have is how much of black culture is represented and celebrated in Saudi media, like television, drama, sitcoms, series, and films. Yeah.
It's there. It's there every day.
Oh, it's very
They
rare.
like to see the features that resemble their own, you know? They dislike the African nose, I told you, blackness.
Yeah.
They present African feature in all Arab countries, especially the Arab Republic of Egypt. Why I said Egypt? Because it is the largest in the media and it's Arab Hollywood.
Yeah.
So always they present us in very insulting images, especially in Ramadan. You know Ramadan is
Yes.
the holy month in Muslim.
Yes. Yes.
They make some sketches, something, some programs to make people laugh for fun. So they insult us in this program. So especially Sudanese, even from Libya, always every year in Twitter, Ramadan they write in Twitter, please stop insulting us in your program. Please stop. Now maybe they try to do it, but they don't like our figure. They don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are some black people, like a singer, his name is Dalia Mubarak. She's married to an black American man. Now she's a Saudi singer, she's very famous, and they like her. But when they come to their Instagram account, a lot of them, they insult her, like African, macaroni, something like this.
Yeah.
But she's happy because the country respects her.
Yeah.
Give her position. Her husband is black American. She has now nationalities.
Yeah, that is. I think it's one of the things that I've seen that is, I think, different to them. That makes them different to white people is that I mean, they they will portray an image of them being all embracing black people. They do that a lot with because if you look at your black American civil rights leaders such as Malcolm X and people like that, when they went to the country, I remember Malcolm X saying that in that part of the world there is no he what he saw, he didn't see a separation between black and white, but obviously that is something they do so well. They when you don't stay there, when you visit, just like when I visited Egypt, there is no way I could really tell how I was gonna be treated if I really stayed there. You know, I would have to really find someone that can, you know, be comfortable in telling me that no, actually, this is how they treat us. You know,
Yes.
so
Even
so.
in my country,
Mm-mm,
they treat us according to the law, fair. But when you look deeply, you see the differences.
yeah.
He push you away from position, from being the leader or something like this.
Mm.
Refuse. All of them refuse.
Okay.
He hate us. He hate us. They
Yeah.
said no black woman will be our leader. No, we will not accept.
Mm.
And if there is something like voting, they will not vote for you against you.
Mhm.
They will not accept. This is
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah.
But this is not in the institute now. It is
Mhm.
something in their culture, in their beliefs, in their mind, in their heart.
Absolutely. I mean,
Keep feel that you are foreigner, you are not from us.
exactly.
You are enslaved, you are all of this.
Mhm.
And when they start shouting at you sometimes
Yeah.
they come out of their mind, they say this word.
Yeah.
Takruni, you are black, you are not like us. Go
Yeah.
away. They will say this to you.
Exactly. Because you know, I think okay. There's you know, one of the most favorite. I don't wanna make him the subject amongst black people in Africa and in the United States. Africans, they love Muammar Gaddafi, right? So from I've never lived in Libya, obviously, and all that, and or in North Africa. But from where I
You
am,
talk with my friend from Libya. He's a black Abdul Salam.
yeah,
He's the most hated to Gaddafi.
yeah,
They are suffering there in Libya. You know, they are people. They are the aboriginal people of Libya.
yeah, the
black
taboo,
people.
the taboo people.
Yes.
And what
You know,
I
all
only know
white
that
people in Africa are not African. They are from Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
Even they said we are from Arab trade. They know that.
yeah, yeah,
People in Algeria, people in Morocco, people, all of them, they said we are from Arabia, we are from Turkey, we are from Kurdi. They said, because we are sitting together and talk together in Mecca and Haram. They said, we are from your country, we are Saudi in origin. They said they are proud of it. And if you said to them, you are black African, they will shout at you. They will become very angry. No. So, no, but you are living in the African continent, yes, by migration. But our root, it's from Saudi Arabia, for example. It's from Yemen. It is from Iraq, Kurdistan, Turkestan. But we are not African. They live in this. They are not African.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We are African. Yes.
Of course, they are not. I agree with them. I agree with them, and because I've fought with a lot of people on Twitter about Gaddafi and all that. There's been a lot of blocking because for me, the common sense from a distance. So even if I don't stay there, yes, I do know a few people on Twitter that actually come from there, and they do explain that Gaddafi was not such a.
It's
He was
to
not a
make
hero.
my friend Abdul Salam to explain you about Gaddafi. Abdul Salam is a black Libyan, this abortion Libyan,
Yeah.
and he knows everything about this period and about Gaddafi. He's with us now. Maybe when you get the space for questioning or something like this, he will tell you.
I would
Yes,
like,
he will tell you his story.
yeah, you should connect us. I would like to do that, yeah. Because for me, if someone comes to me and says, or if a man comes to a woman and says, I want to start a family with you, I think it's common sense to look at how this person actually treats his immediate family, because how do you want to start a family with me when you don't even care about your mother and look your siblings? You don't care about anyone in your family, but you want to start a family, So for me, the question was, when I looked at North Africa, I'm like, if Arabs can be Pan-African, such as Muammar Gaddafi, how come he couldn't at least put black faces? In America, they did a good act. They put Obama there, and all Africans went crazy and excited. At least the Americans could put on an act. The Arabs will never even act that out and just put a black president there, or you look at all that. Yeah, and I'm like, if indeed they can be Pan-African, why can't they put a black person in charge? And people would argue things like, oh,
this is my friend that will tell you in detail.
Yeah.
Because we used to talk together.
Yeah.
He's a very educated man, and he's very African man.
Yeah.
And believes in his Africanity.
Yeah.
He can accident you. I will tell you, Arab will never put and black is believe in. Yes, they believe in this. They are superior and we are the inferior.
Yeah.
They will not accept this. It happened and up to now they write in their literature he was black, he was black, he never they said anything good about him. Because he is black. They don't like black.
Okay. So
their heritage.
So it means what do they teach in their history books in school? What do they say about?
Listen, there is huge differentiation between the theory and the application, how to apply it in the life.
Oh, okay.
The theory, they read it in the Quran. You should be the same. You should be equal. You should treat each other very nicely. You all of this. You can't do the Quran. Yeah. But when they come to the fact, to the reality, they will not accept it. They will keep saying, no, we are the better. Maybe Quran missed this. Maybe Quran don't accept this. Maybe these scholars make their own opinion. Yeah. From their ancestors, heritage, not from the Quran. I said, Quran maybe he missed this, but we inherited this from our ancestors. So this is right, and Quran, they will not say wrong, but they say, no, maybe it's not clear in this.
Yeah.
It is not, yes, they will say it is not logic to put a black person to lead white.
Yeah.
It's not logic. Why? Because blackness is something bad. Blackness is a punishment of our Lord to people.
Yeah.
If the scientific fact said this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Blackness is not punishment. Blackness is mercy.
Yeah.
Blackness is wisdom.
Absolutely.
To make us suitable to live in this area. It's hot. We're close to the sun.
Yeah.
So protect us from cancer at least.
Yeah.
Cancer, we don't have it.
Yeah.
White people, they. But no. They put what they inherited from their ancestors as a religion and application.
Yeah.
And reject the Holy Quran. Whatever Holy Quran said, they keep it in the box. They will not follow it. They follow what they want.
Absolutely. And that is exactly just like the European Christians. They will sing with you in church and hug you and call you my brother, my sister. and
Yes.
everything
And then,
until I say, Mr. Smith, I like your daughter. And you'll be like, mm-mm.
in Arab, oh, maybe they will kill you. How do you say that?
Oh, they'll kill you.
Almost there. How do you say that? You forget yourself. It happened in my family too. My uncle, he married a white woman.
Yeah,
Her sister married a white man. He's from Arab
yeah,
side.
yeah.
And the boy and girl, they loved each other.
Mm.
My uncle's son and his aunt girl, they loved each other and they said, we want to get married. Mother said, okay, no problem. Then my uncle went to Taif to see the father. The father pushed him out, said, go out! You don't see yourself? You are black, you are African, you come to me? Just go out!
Wow. Okay.
The uncle became very angry and he said, why you send us to your family, your sister's family? She said, because my sister, she agreed, but the husband doesn't.
Wow.
Husband said no. How dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you say that?
Yeah.
Arab are not easy to accept this.
Yeah.
They
No, it's
believe we are different than them.
yeah, that's true. I think that's just everywhere. The Indians, white people, everybody knows that part. So yeah, it is. I guess it's a good thing to force us to look to each other. Because in any case, why would I want? I mean, black women are the best looking people on earth anyway. So I'm good.
No, thank you.
It's just a fact.
We'll never listen this.
It's just a fact. I'm not saying it because I'm black. It's just a fact. It's a fact. The fact is a fact. You know? I mean, African women are the only women with that, a shape that differentiates them from the rest of creation, from men, But yeah, so...
You made my day.
So yeah, I mean, there we've got young brothers here. Perhaps we should visit Saudi Arabia and find some black sisters to marry and bring them home this side.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then the next question. Yeah. So the next question I wanted to ask you is. There's someone that was requesting a mic and then he ran off. He looks like he looks like an Arab. I think he wanted to cause a bit of havoc. Yeah. So anyway, so the next question I wanted to ask was, African scholarship has stepped up to challenge, the whole Eurocentric ideas. Egypt was not black. Egyptians were not black. That's basically, obviously, the center of the argument to tear down Eurocentric ideas. But it's not only in Egypt. South Africa apparently does not belong to us. We are not natives here. It's ridiculous ideas, and so. Some of the African scholars that we were exposed to, such as your Sheikh Enter Diop, and Theophile Obenga, who were part of the 1974 UNESCO conference in Egypt, where they actually proved to the entire delegation that the ancient Egyptians were black, and there was no counter argument after that, and that chapter was closed in 1974. So, the only argument is on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook, all the people that don't actually matter in terms of scholarship. Yeah. So, are there...
Scientific fact is that we are, Egypt is belong to us, to black people, even in history, anthropology, geology,
everything, exactly. Even the Bible, whether you believe in the Bible or not, even the Bible also says that there's a part where it says the Egyptians we'll have to go back to something about them, going back to where they came from, and that place when you actually get the word is south of Egypt. And the history of Egypt tells us that the unifier of Egypt came from the south. The monuments are in the south, for goodness sake. So, yeah. So that.
The Sudan, scholars of Sudan, they said this, make the research. Black Sudanese, they said that.
Okay. They say what?
Egypt starts from the south, from Sudan.
That is true. That is true. Even
Ethiopia, Sudan, and the origin.
that is true, because even the culture itself. You have, for example, God happy. They say happy came from the beginning of the Nile. If you worship a God who come from the beginning of the Nile, it means where does it come from? Uganda.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Even if it starts from this point, yes.
the writing is on the wall, I guess. Yeah, but let them keep kicking the wall and going crazy, but the facts will always be facts. Yeah, but obviously, as people on social media, we can't ignore the narrative, because our people are not they're not in tune with the world of scholarship. So it is our duty to show them that we have this. This was settled 1974, when most of us were not even born. So yeah. So the question I wanted to ask is, to your knowledge, how many the scholars such as your Sheikh Anta Diop, your Dr. Yosef Ben Yochanan, are these names are they common in Saudi Arabia among black people?
No, not common in Saudi Arabia. I just know about them since 2 years ago only. I'm doing my best now to.
How many years? How many years? 6 years.
2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Oh.
I started my searching before, but I learned about him since 2 years or 3 years maximum. Yeah, it's not longer. But I'm doing my best with my people to teach them about our about our history. About his theory.
Yeah.
Foundation. I told them maybe this too.
Yeah.
Because they want to live.
Yes. No, you
They're very tired from the pressing.
You can get very tired?
They come from Arab. They want to say, yes, we are African and proud. Yes, we are black and proud.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. They are looking for this too.
Yeah. It's you discovered, you said 3 years ago. It's about the same for me. The first scholar that I came to know about is Dr. Yosef Ben Yochanan. And I wasn't looking for him, no one told me about him. I was just, it was December, during holidays, I was just on YouTube, and bam, I saw Dr. Ben in Egypt. And I was like, okay, let me see what is going on here. And I watched the whole thing. It was amazing. And I was like, I need to go to Egypt. Who is this Dr. Ben? And then I bought his book. And I think it's the second book that I read.
Is Yosef?
Ben. Yeah. Most people call him, Yosef Ben Yochanan. Yeah. So he's a giant. He's a giant. He's the father of the other giants that come after him.
Okay, I need you to send me this book. Send me at least yes.
All right. No, I will definitely. In fact, let me see. Okay. No, I'll definitely do that. Let me just write it down here. Dr. Ben. His book that I bought he's got different books, of course, but the one that I bought is The Black Man of the Nile, and his family. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of it's quite difficult to find. All these books I had to import, and also in South Africa, the knowledge of these scholars is also not common as well. A lot of people don't know what's being promoted because most people come. I came into the so-called conscious movement uh, from an angle of history. Most people come in. If you check a lot of people on Twitter, and then you can sense what angle they came from. Most of them came from the political activism, where they first learned about your Kwame Nkrumah, your Nelson Mandela. They learned about these people, and then they started going into Marxism and Fidel Castro, and they hear about all these and Gaddafi. That's why you can't really tell them much because they come from that school of thought. They were introduced to it by politicians, and unfortunately, black African politicians are not the place to go for accurate information because they make a living by lying to our people anyway. So
Anyway,
yeah,
this is
exactly.
what the politicians do.
Yeah. So in Saudi Arabia, do you have are there any scholars that you can introduce us to that are doing similar work in trying to introduce their African people in in their area to their history? They actually blow a trumpet and say, "Hey guys, this is where we came from. This is our history." You know,
No, no.
or you
They
don't have
just
them.
care about Arab in this country. They just will teach you about Arab history, but they never care about the other. And black people, they don't care. They don't care because they are afraid from the politician. Maybe they will say this is for politician. You do it for politicians for political reasons.
Yeah.
So you want to divide the country, you want to divide the people. So they come afraid from talking about it.
Okay. All right.
Only they are afraid. They are afraid from this.
Okay. So are you saying that the black people they're not interested or they are scared to start something like
They're
that?
scared. They're scared. They want to
Okay.
know. They want to know,
Okay.
but they're scared.
Yeah.
Because, as I told you, they look at to us as a foreigner,
Yeah.
African, Tanzania. We don't like this country. We don't belong to it. We like to divide it. They said this to us. Always.
So
They
that
write this down. They said, you see, we told you black people are not Saudi, are not real citizens. They want to divide our country. They want. All of these bad things they will say about us. People scared.
Oh, so they will accuse you of bringing division. Okay.
Yeah, they accuse us.
Okay. That's actually very interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, because I think it's easier in our part of the world than in the Arab world because the thing
Arab world
is,
is very difficult.
yeah, it is.
Arab world is very
Yeah.
difficult. I thought when they became very angry because of Sanja Rebellion, they
Yeah.
said, yes, they said they want to divide the Ummah meaning the nation. They want to divide Muslims, and they would say everything bad to us if we try to make a point or to talk about our history, our origin. They will not accept it at all.
Wow.
They
Oh,
will
okay.
do something for religion reason. You see?
Oh, so instead of
Yes.
okay, so
They are
Europeans.
stupid. They are stupid in this area. They are very stupid in this area, not like European. European is better than us. Really.
Because in Europe, okay, well, Europeans, what they do is they will try and hide the history. For example, the Sanja Revolution. I mean, it's something that would be equivalent to the Haitian Revolution, and white people have been hiding that that history. So that's how white people do. So the Arabs, they don't hide it; they talk about it, but they've blemished the whole story, painted it
Yes.
bad.
Arab will not accept any other race beside them. They will
Yeah.
keep saying, we are Arab. All of you are Arab. And when you start talk with them in detail, they will say, no, you are not Arab.
Yeah.
You are African, you are Takruni, you are slave. You see, you are Indian, you are not from us, you don't belong to us. But in general, when you start to talk about anything, they will say, no, we are one nation, we are Arab, we are.
So they toss you to and fro like a ball. So wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Confusing us. Very confusing us, really.
Oh, wow. That's insane. Okay, so the next question that I have, so the guys on the floor, if you have questions, please prepare yourself. I'm almost I have probably about four other questions, and then I'll just open for everybody else to come in and ask questions. So my next question is then, in this case, how do Black Arabians view Pan-Africanism? Do they feel included or excluded in terms of with the rest of us? Because generally,
Africanism?
yeah, do they is Pan-Africanism something they're aware of in terms, because the whole Pan-African movement, I think, from my knowledge, the interaction has been mostly between the continent of Africa and Africans in the diaspora in the Western Hemisphere, not from the East. I'm not very aware of collaborations between, except, in fact, the video that you sent me about how Malcolm X was also influenced by some Black Saudi Arabians. Yeah. So, does Black Arabians feel a part of us, the rest of us, or do they feel that we have forgotten about them?
Okay. To ask if they feel they are part of us in Africa?
Yeah.
It depends. We are not all the same. You know? We are not all the same.
Yeah.
Some, they believe in that, like me and my family.
Yeah.
Those who knows where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
All of us, we believe we are from Africa. And if anybody asks us where we come from, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Niger, I'm from Mali. All of them, they say the truth. I'm from Sudan. We don't have problem with this. But I told you, those enslaved, they don't know where they came from. So, yes.
Okay.
They don't. But Africa needs from us, what I said, we need to inform people about it. Make programs.
Oh,
Something to let them know about it. To understand the ideas, the benefit of these ideas. How can they be? How can they involve in it? How can they help? How it will be very good for them.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about it. It's a new idea.
Yeah.
Hard work from us. They will accept it, especially the young generation. They will accept it because they suffer. They feel they are not from Arab and they do not belong to Africa. So if we try to make them engage in this project, they will know their roots.
Yeah.
They will be proud because most Black people in this country, they feel shame because everybody look at them by this way.
Yeah. Wow.
It's our job now to educate them.
Yeah. We I actually hope that we can build an international network and educate
this is what I'm talking about. Maybe
yes,
we need this.
And educate our people.
If you do it, I will be with you.
Yeah, and if you have ideas on how to get on the ground and do it, it will be great. But we'll be obviously we can connect and talk, and perhaps I should have a trip to Saudi Arabia. My cousin used to work there, and I have a guy, this friend of mine. We used to go to the same church back in my church days. He's working in Saudi Arabia. He's staying there. Well, yeah, he's been working there for a few years.
I think we need an academic research center for us as Africans.
True.
They send researchers to the North Africa, Yemen. Researchers, they send them to to see the situation there of the black people, how they suffer, how they treat them.
Exactly.
So write everything, yes, scientifically.
True. Because that's been something I've always wanted us to have, because that's why I wanted this conversation, because a lot of our people are not very aware of the fact that, like, for example, in South Africa during the apartheid era, the television program, you could watch your news they had a few of the languages, not all of them, where you could watch news in your own language. But it was still during apartheid, which was saying restricting black people. But I looked at that and I'm like, which Arab country has, for example, Libya, the one that people always want to praise, can the table people watch their news in their own language in Libya? That was my question, because if he's
and my close friends said they talk the language, Black Caribbeans, what is the language? I think it's Qaraawi, something like this is African language. They talk it between black people.
Yeah.
But in Saudi Arabia, we talk our language too. But between us, in our society.
Yeah. But
I used to see the South African movies.
Yeah.
It's in English. It's not in your language. It's not in African language.
Oh yes. But you see where I picked up the difference. There's, for example, we used to, like, during apartheid, because apartheid was a time when they said black people are not allowed here and there and there. We could still make our own music in our own languages, which became international, in fact. Some of the international musicians that were singing in their own languages and English, they started joining the struggle, and some of them went into exile, and even connected with one of the singers, the late Mama Miriam Makeba. She even got married to a member of the Black Panther Party in the United States, the guys who were fighting for their liberation in the United States. She got married to one of them because they started going out there and performing. And then one of the biggest groups is called Lady Smith Black Mambazo. They came up during the time of apartheid, and they became international because they were not really restricted yes, we were restricted to express our culture, but I feel like it was better, because you could watch the news in Zulu and some of the program. I mean, I remember as a kid watching cowboy movies with they were English, of course, but when I was watching them, they had voiceovers in Zulu, in the local language.
Yes, okay, like it.
But it was white. It was white people. It was white people in English, but they would put the voiceover and they would translate. Yeah, so
it's one way to keep our languages alive.
Yeah. So this happened during apartheid a long time ago. So, but what I noticed in the Arab world, like the table people, can they watch their news in their language?
Never.
Never, you see, yeah.
Never. It's only Arabic.
Only Arabic.
They say this is Arab land.
Yeah.
We should learn our language. Other language, they will allow it's English only.
Yeah.
In South Africa, French, but not our languages, not African languages.
Yeah.
They will not accept it.
Yeah.
Yes. They said, you came to us, so you should speak like us. Yes, will be your native.
Yeah, but the funny thing is when the Arabs that are ruling North Africa, they are saying the same thing. They should be allowing the table people to have some of the things written in their languages, stuff like that. Like in during apartheid also, we could learn in class in our own languages, like especially primary school,
It's not you in your society, but not in general. Not
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
public,
No,
not
I'm,
in TV.
yeah.
Saudi Arabia, this is their law.
It's not.
So
Yeah,
you can
I'm.
put as you want, as much you want with
Yeah.
your people,
Yeah.
but not in front of us,
Yeah.
not in public,
Not in
not
public.
in our media. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's I'm drawing comparison between Saudi Arabia and apartheid South Africa. And it looks like it's harder that side. Yeah, hence because if it's like that, it means people in Saudi Arabia will not have a voice, and we will not know what's really happening except what we
No, we
see
don't
on
have
TV.
voice. No, we don't.
Yeah,
No, we don't have voice. We cannot talk. They
yeah,
will accuse us. They will say we are not real citizens.
yeah.
They will attack it from us.
Okay, all right, interesting. All right, so the last question before I then invite others for questioning, and also even if you have questions for me or for anyone, you can also feel free to ask. So
Okay.
the last question
I'm
is.
following you. I get everything I want from you. What you're writing.
Yeah, no problem. Easy. Yeah. So the last question that I have is the black people in Arabia. How do they think of what? Most of them, what do they think of Africa when they hear Africa? The ones that have never been here, when they think of Africa, what do they? Because you look at, for example, Black Americans, it will be the media tells them it's a place of very poor people and flies all over their faces,
Exactly.
but
Yes.
some of them,
Everything you said.
yeah, yeah, and then some of them will be like, "Who the motherland? The motherland! I must go home." So it's a mixture of a bit of that. So what is the state of mind of black people in Arabia when you mention the word Africa? Is it a place that they think it's a beautiful place, or a place to stay away from? Don't go there.
Yes, exactly. Stay away from.
Wow. Wow.
They are poor.
Wow.
Yes, diseases,
Okay. So
insecurity, all of these things. But some they go. I told you.
yeah,
They
you
would, they trade with Nigeria.
yeah.
They go.
Mm.
And for me, my brother, he traveled to Ethiopia many times,
Okay.
to South Africa many times. And
Oh, all right.
it's really wonderful. He liked it, and he advised me to go. So I will
Okay.
go to Ethiopia, inshallah, and South Africa too.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
uncle, he went to Nigeria, and he enjoyed his stay there. He said it's good. He liked
Okay.
it very much. Yes.
All right. That's
And me with my uncle's daughter, we said we will go to Nigeria, inshallah, after the pandemic finished.
oh
We will
yeah.
go to visit at least for 1 month to see. Kano, we want to see Kano. You know Kano?
What's Kano?
Kano.
Kano.
It's a city, it's a town, something like this in Nigeria, South and not Nigeria, northern Nigeria.
Oh, okay. All right.
Kano, Lagos, Abuja. We want
Oh
to see
yeah,
this
yeah.
city.
Abuja. Kano is a Kano, right?
Yes, Kano.
Oh yeah. I think
It's,
I've
it's
heard
my mother
about it.
ancestors from there. My mother ancestors from there.
Oh,
from Kano.
okay. All right.
My father from Zaraya. So
Is that-
Nigeria.
Your father from? Nah?
Zaraya.
Oh, Zerawa. Okay.
Zaraya.
Oh, Zeraya.
We said in old Hausa, I heard from my grandmother,
Yeah.
they said, Zandagawa, they said it in this way. But when I asked some modern Nigerians, they said they changed the name. Now it's Zaraya. So I accept it.
Oh, I see.
I'm foreigner now from Nigeria.
Oh, no.
I accept.
Yeah, it's a good thing you got updated. Next thing you come there and you're looking for this place and no one knows it. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's interesting. Yeah, no. You should. Have you visited any African country yourself so
I
far?
want to visit, but I don't.
Oh, you haven't.
Some I will visit, but not yet. I told my brother he went to Ethiopia many times and to
Yeah.
South Africa.
Oh,
My
yeah.
uncle went to Nigeria,
Yeah.
but never. Even Arab country in Africa, I don't like to visit. I will visit the Black African only.
Yeah.
I will not go to, for example, I will not go to Morocco. I will not go to Egypt. I don't
Yeah.
like those people because I know them. I live among them. I know how they take us and how
Yeah.
they look to us. I know them well. So I will not pay my money to go to somewhere to
Yeah.
liberate me. No, I will not do it.
No, when you visit Egypt, okay, I don't know if they see your passport is Saudi. I don't know,
Saudi passport.
but yeah,
Yes,
I don't know.
If they do not see my passport, they will believe listen, Egyptian people will respect the money. I know them.
Yeah,
This is their way.
yeah,
If you have money, they will respect you.
yes,
But I know what they believe about us, how they
Yeah.
think about us
True,
from
true.
the movies, from programs, from boxes. I know
Yeah.
everything. I'm the daughter of this area. I
Yeah.
know. I will not go to Arab country for tourism. Never.
All right. So I would suggest that you do go to Egypt. Go to Aswan at least. There you will, yeah, Aswan. It's in the
Aswan,
south.
okay. Yes, that's one black
Yeah.
people there. Yes.
Go to the
Yes,
the Nubian village there.
yes.
You
I
feel
will
at
be
home.
over.
Yeah, you feel at home.
Okay, I will go there. I
Yeah.
will go there.
When
Where black people, I will go.
yeah. No, yeah. As when I went to Aswan, I was walking down the street. I was like, okay, what's going on here? Why are there so many black people? It was like everyone is black. But yeah, I felt at home, and they welcomed me like a brother. Like it was not a matter of, oh, he's a tourist. You could feel like this is a proper. When they say my brother, you feel it that it's real. He's not just saying it because you know. So yeah,
Yeah, right.
and
Okay, I will take your advice. I
yeah,
will go to Nubia, and that's one too.
yeah,
I will go.
and
But I will not go to, for example, I will not go to Lebanon, I will not go to Syria, I will not go to Palestine.
yeah,
All of these countries are very necessary. I know them. I
and
know how they hate people, black people.
yeah,
And they will never call you by your name. They will keep calling you Khala. Yani
What?
black slave. Yes, yes. It's their way in calling black people. So I will not go to them.
So wow, okay, that's insane. And speaking of Saudi and visiting, because I personally, in terms of trips, I started being interested in just doing trips because I like going to see heritage sites. So all the countries that I went, except Zanzibar and somewhere, I just went on holiday. But I usually like Ethiopia. When I went there, I went in January during the Christmas.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Nice.
and saw the churches, the ancient monuments. It was a beautiful experience. Yeah. So in Saudi, I know that ISIS bombed some of the ancient monuments, and the African scholars have stated like the historian that I mentioned earlier, Drusilla, who wrote the book The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Kushite Empire. So they always say that these monuments were actually built by black people and all that. So I don't know, have you ever visited any old monuments, medina that are out there, like Medina, I think,
It's also
in Saudi Arabia?
Medina isn't find Ethiopian Africa, so no. I think he found it there in the south of Saudi Arabia, near to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Even there is some tribe speaking Ethiopian right now.
Oh, there are
They said
people.
it's ancient Arabic. But it is not ancient Arabic. It's an Ethiopian language.
Ah, is it the same in Yemen also?
Yes, yes,
Because
exactly.
in the book she
But they do
mentions,
not.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
in the book she mentions there's a language, it's called Himrai Himyaritic.
Himyari.
Yeah, Himyaritic.
Himyari.
Yeah.
This Himyari, it belongs to Ethiopia.
Yes,
It's not
exactly.
Arabic, but Arab said it's our ancient language. It is not Arabic language. Yes, it's African language.
Yes. So
From Ethiopia, yes.
so hence the research from that book and others, they basically stating that the Arabs are not originally from there. They came from Syria and invaded Arabia many centuries ago. So
We are Neanderthal sons. You know Neanderthal? Neanderthal?
yes, the Neanderthal, yeah.
Yes, yes, they are sons of Neanderthal. They are came from Europe
Yeah.
and keep moving to Syria, then to the to
Yeah,
Arabia.
that is true. That is true. And apparently, even India, they invaded India and then they came. Yeah, yeah. So the Serbians, are you close? Are you familiar with them? Do they consider themselves
Serbia?
Arabs? Yeah, the Saba people. Saba.
Saba.
Yeah.
Saba, they are not Arab. They are not Arab. Even Arab, some Arab scholars say they are not Arab.
Yeah. According to
They are
them,
from Ethiopia.
do they
According
consider?
according to the regular information they use it, they said they Arab. But Kenyan and Saba, they are not Arab. They are from
They are
Ethiopia.
Ethiopians. Yeah, I do know that. So the Sabas themselves, do they consider themselves from Ethiopia, or they just say they
The
are?
Saba?
Yeah,
Saba?
yeah. The Saba
We
people.
don't have them now. We don't have them now.
What happened to them?
We don't have Saba people in Saudi Arabia. All what we have now is Arab.
Oh.
Just a little, you can find them there in the south of Saudi Arabia and Yemen.
Oh, in Yemen,
And
yeah.
most said we are Ethiopian. We are Ethiopian, and they said they are not belong to this land. They came from Ethiopia and set this among us. They don't tell the truth, never.
Yeah,
They want to say
because
we are the root of this land.
Exactly.
We
Because
are the aboriginal. Even the scientific fact said this is wrong. This is not your aboriginal land. You are Neanderthal. You came
from the north.
And keep moving until you reach to the Arabian. You occupied the area.
Yeah, that is.
I don't know what happened. Make our ancestors become very weak. I don't know what happened. Really, I'm trying to find something to make it logical to me. I don't understand what happened in that time. Make those invaders stronger than us. We are the people of this land. And push us out. Instead of us, and make it their country. What happened in that time? This is my new project. I'm researching about this period of time. I just want to know what happened in this time. What significant thing happened?
That's the same question I had starting out on my journey to studying history and knowledge of self. I find my own answer. Maybe you find a different one. But what I found is that they were never stronger than us.
Okay, how did this happen?
We messed up. I think the thing is, if you think about as African people, we've been moving around the planet and doing powerful things for a very long time. So we got to a point. So I'll give an example with and this you will find. I actually, if you haven't read this book, it's called The Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. I highly recommend that book to you and everybody that's
Okay.
listening. If
Send
they-
me the name of this book to
Yeah.
my.
yeah, I'll
Yes,
I'll
yes,
DM
yes,
you the
yes,
book. Yeah.
yes.
So
Yes.
in that book, he breaks down. You can see it's the same story from Egypt to Sudan and all the way to South Africa. It's like the same story repeating itself. So what actually happened? We've never really fought with these people toe to toe, and they defeated us. It's always been a matter of they they were very patient. Okay, they're very barbaric also. So what they do is they never fight
They
you
are
because
very barbaric.
yes,
This is what the European scientific said. They
yes,
were very barbaric. Yes,
yeah.
I know that.
Because if you look at the
Yeah,
structure, yeah, if you look at the structure of an Arab cannot really face a black man like toe to toe.
No, they can't.
They
They're
look at their
smaller.
arms. If you look at their arms, I mean,
They're smaller, yes. Yes, I know.
no, besides the size, I mean, I'm pretty small, but at least I have
No,
veins.
they
My
have no muscle. They
exactly,
have no muscle to have.
you know,
Yes,
my
I
arms, you
know.
can see veins and scars, and you know,
Yes.
they and also
I know
you
that.
don't find heavyweight.
I know the anatomy of our muscle. I know it.
They
We are
don't
stronger.
exactly. They don't.
Muscularly, we are stronger. I know.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, it is not because of muscle. I think it's something, something related to the mind.
True,
What
true,
they
true.
did to make us leave our land, or then what happened? Why we
Yeah.
agree?
So
This is the question.
okay. So what?
Look to the North Africa. It was all occupied with black people. Now black people are minority.
Exactly.
What happened?
So what actually happened is when they came in, so they do this all the time. So when they come in, so okay, the North Africa part is there's a lot of factors that come in, including so what happens, for example, when the unifier of the first dynasty of Egypt, he came from the south and unified the two lands. So what African people have always been doing, when they have people that come from outside and they come into the society and integrate into the society, you welcome them in. You're like, we're all human, and then these people slowly start multiplying in number, and then they start marrying because a lot of these African kingdoms, they were matrilineal in the sense that you inherit from your uncle, your mother's side. This way.
I understand this.
Yes, and then so if you are royal, then I marry you not because I like you, but because I want to get the power. But when my son comes in, then we change the system. Then my son inherits from me and things like that. So it's explained even in the book. But I'll give you an example to show you that
they manipulate us. They manipulate us. Yes, this is not good for us too.
Yeah.
They manipulate in our people, in our kingdoms.
Exactly. They divided.
So
Our problem is
this is not good.
True.
That's why they said black people are stupid. You are very good people and simple people. You accept anything we tell you. This is not good for us.
True.
You should be smart.
Exactly. So where we went wrong, it was more like division, because in the book, I think one of the characters that you will enjoy reading about is Quinzinga. She was from the Congo Kingdom, the ancient Congo Kingdom. So her brother was king then, and it was a kingdom a unified kingdom of different clans that with their own chiefs, and then the king was the ultimate power over these other chiefs. So what actually happened during that time is when the Portuguese came in, they started. They brought gifts. They didn't come with an army first. They came with gifts, and then they went to this chief and said, "Look, if you give us
All of this doesn't satisfy me. Why? Because this is their way to manipulate our mind.
Exactly.
Why you accept all this?
Yeah.
This is cheap things.
Exactly. So they would pay you to go and capture people from the other clan. The Hausa people must kidnap the Igbo people, and then you bring them to us. So you're like, it doesn't matter. We'll get money as long as it's not my people. We don't. And then they would go to the and then they'll go to the Igbo.
We should teach our new generation how this is very vital. This is not good for us.
True.
This
Exactly.
will damage us.
Absolutely. And Quinzinga, during this whole, when they were using the different chiefs against each other and all that, Quinzinga was the only one that could actually see what was happening, and she started fighting the Portuguese. All by herself, she fought the Portuguese for 40 years. They could not defeat her. They even, at one point, they called her to come and negotiate a peace treaty and negotiation. And she told them, I do not negotiate any settlement that does not involve you guys leaving my land and leaving my people alone. And so they continued fighting
The
her.
smart one.
You know?
She's only the smart one among them.
Exactly.
All of them, they accept to take the cheap things.
Exactly. So if
Land and give them our land and give them to lead everything to lead us and to lead occupy our land. Be the majority and we are the many of them. Treat us in a very bad way.
Yeah, exactly.
Capture us as a slave. No, I don't accept this one. I don't accept it.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense because even in Arabia, when Arabs did the Umayyad conquest, they used black warriors from Arabia.
Yes, I know. Yes.
Because
you cannot find this in Arab history. You find it in European history. Arabs denied. They say everything happened by Arab.
Exactly.
Even they were very little group. How can they do all of this?
Because I mean they are not warriors. They will
No, they are not.
because that's why you don't have any. Even when you read of great Arabian warriors, it's Antara. You know, Antara was black. You know, so yeah, it's crazy. So I think
you can see their effect in their own land. They didn't do anything in it.
Yeah.
Look to the Pennsylvania, the Arabic clan. They didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Everything happened. It's around Syria, Iraq, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Spain, Spanish, something like this, but not in Arab country.
Yeah.
Because they don't have this skill.
Yeah.
To make civilization. They don't have this skills. They don't have it. They must mix with other races to make something. But by all this, they cannot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they just nomadic people who live in tents, and that's it. That's who they are. You know, so it's crazy. All right, that's it from me. Thank you for your time. Let me open. Let's check if there are any people that want to ask any questions from the floor. Anybody?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this space. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. We should do more. And don't go away. Don't go away. Let's see if there's. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Is there anyone that has a question or something to say to Sister Nada?
You need to ask Brother Abdussalam. Abdussalam, are you here? Abdussalam?
He left. I actually know him. Now that you mention him, I know him.
He will tell you. He will tell you about
Libya. Yeah, he did. He did actually. He did. When I was fighting with these crazy people, Gaddafi lovers, and he came and they're like, what do you know? Have you ever been to Libya and all these things? And he stepped in, and then they kept quiet. But yeah.
This is mentality I told you about, which make them occupy our land. Like those people, black people who love Gaddafi.
Yeah.
The same. Same like our ancient who live in Arab and let them occupy our countries.
Yeah.
Don't like them.
Yeah.
Treat them as equal.
Exactly. So I want our people to let go of the notion that Arabs are the lesser evil, because they are actually worse than Europeans, because in Mauritania they still slavery.
In Mauritania, they're bad, very bad in
Yeah.
Mauritania. All
Yeah.
of them came from Yemen and Hijaz and occupied the land and make the aforementioned people feel they are enslaved and they have no right to do anything to their country and they are inferior always. No.
Yeah.
Mauritania, very bad country.
Yeah, it is. And even until today they still slavery. There's
Yes, until.
yeah. So it's things like these that I think our people need to be aware of, and not be led by the African Union.
Yes.
The African Union
Yeah.
is a bunch of
I hope
nonsense.
it happens, Arab.
You know.
I hope it happens. I pray for God to happen this.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
it
union between Africa.
it will
To solve
definitely.
all their problems. Yes. We
Yeah.
need to educate our generation.
Yeah.
We need to educate them.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, this thing is gonna happen whether we sleep or we wake up. It's gonna happen. This is the turning of the tide, and the reason why the people you mentioned, you call them one year and yeah, the reason why the other reason why they could have control or feel powerful is the world is in the night season. The has been in the night season for the past 2,000 years, the age of Pisces, and so we've been asleep. And crooks usually do well when people are sleeping. Mosquitoes do very well when you're sleeping because they can't face you while you're awake. You'll snap them dead. So they like you when you're sleeping, so they can bite you and suck your blood real good. So that's why the other reason why these people have been dominant, because the age of sleep introduced it. You thrive if you have a nature of greed and barbarism, you know. So, and that is ending. We are coming into a new season. These things are happening. You can even see that the discussions are bringing in people. Yeah. So, yeah, we have a request for a mic. Let us hear what the brother has to say. Question or whatever it is. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Mahesh. Okay.
Mahesh Kumar, yes.
Okay, he got cut off again. I was trying to add him. All right. Okay. While he's trying to connect back. So yeah, we are in that season. I mean, if you look back 20 years ago, this knowledge of our history as African people was not as widely available as it is now. We have more people that know it than 10 to 20 years ago. So
Yes.
it's clearly moving along, and Europeans start admitting one thing there and another thing there. You know, they've finally admitted that black people are the origin of mankind. It's like, oh well, they realize, okay, we can give that one up. It doesn't mean anything, so it's not an achievement. But they've even there was an article that came out in 1979 saying that they found that the oldest monarch in the world was found in Sudan, you know. But the guy that found it sat on the information until he died, and then his colleague released the information. So it's happening slowly. So it's either, as what I always say to exactly. So what I say to African people is, you will wake up, whether you're either gonna wake yourself up or you're gonna have a rude awakening. Either way, because the whole world, white people know, Europeans know that the solution is African culture.
Yes.
They say, okay,
Exactly.
today they're telling them this whole eating healthy, eating, going more vegan and all these things, um, eating more of your herbs and plants and all that. It's like a big business. It did not exist 10 years ago. But where does it find its roots? It's in African culture. Even though, as you must remember, Africans didn't slaughter a goat when they felt like eating meat or slaughter a cow when they were hungry. These were usually done with ceremony. So our diet, yes, we did eat meat, but not as much as we do today. So it's African culture is the solution.
Future for us.
Yeah.
Yes, future for us.
Absolutely.
Just keep moving.
Yeah. So I do not see any hands.
Okay.
Do you have any question yourself or any last words? This.
Nothing at all. Just I really enjoy with you. Thank you a lot.
Yeah,
For
it's
Thank you.
it's a pleasure. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I think this should be a beginning of things to come. We need to make real connections and stuff because that's at the end of the day. Yeah, because I believe in.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. We work together.
Absolutely.
We work together for our beautiful continent.
Yes,
Africa.
absolutely.
Yes, we are together, inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Now, and we will next step.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much. And so we'll end it here, and we'll keep talking. But this conversation will end it here, and we'll see more in the future. Thanks to you. Have a very good evening that side, and a very good week ahead, and to everybody else that is listening as well. Peace and black power.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Cheers.